And the interesting part too is I can look back at again Chardonnay experience, where you have days where you are doing a 36 hole shotgun and it's in or a 18 hole shotgun, and I think sometimes people don't understand at places like Newcastle or Pumpkin Ridge or Chardonnay, the reserve of the vineyards. If you have a group that comes for a full course shotgun and it's $75,000, food and beverage included, all in, mobile pro shop, like that's their member guest.
Yeah.
It's a 1 day member guest, and you are doing everything from bag drop to signage to and just creating a party for that client.
Yeah, you're right.
That's on a Thursday, and then you do it again tomorrow for an entirely different client, and they feel like you have been thinking about them, prepping for them, custom scorecards, custom golf cart signs, all that stuff. And they don't even think about the fact that you did it yesterday for somebody else.
Right.
And then at the same time, places like Pumpkin and Newcastle, you do member events that you do the member guest. Now it's not a full member guest, maybe like it would be at an equity club, but it's still 70, 80 players, and it's a big deal. And it in some ways, it does take a great team to pull that off. And yet it's the variety is actually fun. It's like, well, who do I have in front of me? And I think that's why sometimes the people that we have that work in those environments with us go on to do other things really well in or out of the golf business. It's because they learn adaptability. It's kind of like,
yeah, totally agree.
Like, can we, like, again, how many times do you think about the times when you worked with people at Ghost where it was this nice administrative assistant who works for the CEO and doesn't even play golf, and he or she has been told, hey, you're going to run our scramble event. Got it? And they go, okay. And they have no idea what that means. Right. They don't, and they come to meet with you and Dylan and Dave say, we got you.
We got it. Yeah.
We got you. We're going to handle everything for you. We're going to make you look like a hero. And at the end, they come back to you and they go, man, you made me look like a hero.
Okay, right. Well, and I think that's what, as golf professionals, all of our golf professionals in the section, I think that's what we all are really good at. Mm-hmm. And that's a part of our responsibilities is to make those individuals feel good about bringing their business to us.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing. And then the relationships you make over the time, and certainly there then becomes a trust factor and they feel comfortable with you. They understand the situation. And so all of those things just, I think, lead us to where, we ultimately are.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel that a lot of the repeat business at facilities comes the way that it does.
Yeah.
Is because of all of us.
So, as a little bit of transition before the last 12 years, did you serve on committees or different things with the Oregon chapter? Did you do?
Yeah. So when I was at Pumpkin Ridge, David Porter was actually on the Oregon board. And so while he was heavily involved, and I was not at that particular time, but I wanted to do some sort of committee work. And at that time it was the awards committee, and there was a time when they were trying to transition the awards process in the Oregon chapter, and I raised my hand to do that, although that committee was very short-lived, I think, at that time, and it never really got off the ground. But so, yeah, my time on that committee was very short.
Yeah, so then I have a memory about the transitions sometimes are never – there's always people who are like, why are we doing this? What do you mean you're gonna move on from this sort of way of running the chapter to do this? And I remember there was some consternation, some unhappiness about how can we do this, and because they loved the people that were doing it. There was a lot of people who really, really were big fans of Rich and Amy, and they had done a very good job. I think they'd done the job the way that it had been asked of them, but yet there was sort of hey, we're going to go in a new direction. And I'm not sure if Rich was like, no, I don't want to do that. Maybe that's why it happened. But I do remember obviously I want to say this carefully, but I do remember there were some people that were like, I think it's a big mistake. We're making a huge mistake here. And I always want to remind you that like literally 2 weeks into the job, those people were like, no, we're good. We got the right guy. Those people who were fans, who were fans of Rich, and they should have been because he had done a really good job and done some really creative things. They quickly became fans of yours. Not that they were no longer fans of Rich, because that's the beauty of our business is that you can remain friends with people. And I know that Rich is probably a fan of yours at this point too. But like, the reality is you did.
Hey, I was a member of the Oregon chapter as well, and I was a part of it, and I played in events, and you establish relationships with the individuals running the chapter, and that's I had those same feelings, and it was great to always see Rich and Amy at events and in charge and doing the things that they did. Mm-hmm. And change is sometimes hard. I mean, I get it. I mean, I've been in the situations where it's hard. And quite frankly, at the time, I was at Pumpkin Ridge, and I was a casualty of the economic downturn. Mm-hmm. And I at that particular time didn't have a job. And when the job of the executive director of the Oregon chapter opened up, I got a phone call from David Porter, who at that time I think was either VP or president, and asked me if I would be interested in it. Well, again, it was so new to me. I didn't know what the actual job description, what it all entailed, and I wanted to see if it aligned with what I was looking to do and my experience. And when they provided me with all the details, it actually matched up perfectly with what I was looking to do and what my experiences were. Yeah. And again, I wasn't coming in I went into the interview with, here's my plan and here's what I have, in place. Like it wasn't, it's just, I was going to leverage a lot of my friendships with, potential sponsorships and trying to do that. And it worked out successfully for me at that time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's interesting that, I would say that too, the timing of things, looking back, connecting the dots for you in your career and my career, David Cass, who's no longer in our section, but is obviously somebody we both know a little bit pretty well. He always says that you're 2 jobs away from sort of what you think is your dream job, or you're sort of 2 phases away, I like to say, from who you need to be in your current job so that you can make it better. And if you look at Pumpkin Ridge and Newcastle, the training you had with all those sponsor relation questions and those big CEO type relationships where maybe the CEO shows up and they're the one, right? They're signing the check for 70 grand or 100 grand for that day. And they have high expectations. They haven't put a second of thought into it, but they expect something because they have a team that's working with you, and you deliver on that and that sort of feeling of satisfaction, but it's also the pressure. And that happens all the time with your CCA events. Right. Those cancer fund, like those cancer fundraiser things you guys have developed are so cool. Something certainly to be proud of. That obviously that's a team that put that together. So it's pretty cool. So what are some of the things that the folks in the Oregon chapter, or perhaps in the section, or just people who play golf in pro-ams might be unaware of, that maybe you'd be like, hey, this is the kind of work we put in to make this happen, and this is what our sponsors do for us? What are some of those things that you might share behind the scenes?
Yeah, I mean, well, I'll share this. I think one of the most important things for me was coming into this position was getting to know, most all, if not all, of our members of the Oregon chapter. To me, that was important. Our Oregon chapter is so geographically massive, extending all the way from Longview, Kelso, all the way down to the California border and over to Central Oregon. So it is a massive area. And, we've got, I think now we are the largest chapter in the Northwest section with just over about 450 members. And that's huge. That's a huge increase from where it was when I took over. But anyway, so at that time, it's important to me to try to get to know as many of our professionals as possible. And this job really allowed me to do that, because when we first started, you know, with the board that was in place, you know, I think our members in Southern Oregon felt a little neglected from the rest of the chapter because they were so far south. And so it was important for the board and for myself to make the commitment that we were going to run events in Southern Oregon. And when we first started it, we just said it had to look and feel the exact same way in Southern Oregon as if we were in Portland metro area. And no matter how many teams we had play, it was going to be as good as any event we ever do in any other part of the state. So if we had 5 teams, it was going to be the best for those 5 teams.
I like that.
And so we just made that commitment, and we've been doing events in Southern Oregon now for, probably 8-9 years, because it's important to us, because we want that connection with our Southern Oregon team as our Central Oregon pros, as our Portland Metro and Willamette Valley pros.
And the coastal ones too.
Yeah, and that's the best part is we do events in the North Coast, we do them on the South Coast, we do them in Southern Oregon, we do them in Central Oregon, we do some senior events up in Longview, Kelso, and Portland metro area out into the gorge. I mean, we have this territory covered with events, and we do, on average between 26 and 29 regular pro-ams a year. We do anywhere from 25 to 28 senior pro-ams a year. We run between 6 to 9 championship events in our chapter. And then we have our 4 to 5 charity events a year that we partner with. And it's, you add all that together and it's anywhere between 62 and 68 events a year.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's something that the chapter, and this predates me, that the chapter created that was important for our members that we've continued to carry on. So that's what's really cool.
Yeah. I actually a little bit brag about you and about the Oregon chapter at times outside of the section, because and usually people are astounded by the number of events that happen in the Oregon chapter and in the Western Washington chapter. And then also frankly, in the 3 smaller chapters, because even though they don't do the number of events, by scale, they do basically the same number of events in terms of the number of members they have. They do it in terms of scale. They really do it well. And in terms of outreach and promotion and all those things. And the Callaway Invitational is such a cool thing. Was that going on before, or is that something you and Politic created?
No, that was going on before.
Okay.
That was going on well before I got here. Because I want to say we are now 20 years on that event. So, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And, we hope to continue that event. And I think that and our chapter championship, those are the highlights of our season. And we have a number of other highlights, but I think those are certainly the longest standing events.
I know the Banded Dunes Pro-Am, every other chapter member in the Pacific Northwest, the other chapters is like, why can't I play in that?
Well, yeah,
that's why.
I mean, we are fortunate. We are fortunate that we have that in the Oregon chapter, and we're fortunate that we get to play down there, and as of late, we get to play there twice a year. But yeah, we certainly don't take it for granted. We understand that things happen and things change, and we may not be there forever, but we're taking advantage of it now while we can. And it is certainly our most popular event of the year for sure.
I think one of the things that I give Jeff Simons and his team credit for about that is that same with the player development workshop he's like, hey, we got to travel to everything else. Why don't we have a home game now and again? And it's so they created a home game for them in a way that is a little bit self-interested. They're enlightened self-interest, but it also created an opportunity for the Oregon chapter members to participate in an event where they're willing. Obviously, sign me up. I got to drive 5 hours. I'll do it tomorrow. No problem. And so it's a win-win-win all the way around. And so I think those are exceptional. And that's actually one of the things that I admire about you, Dominic, is that also too, the coaching club, that's now a 1-day event, but was a 2-day event at the University of Oregon. Again, that was obviously you worked really closely with Bill Maroc on that to develop that. But for its run, which it might have still kept going if it wasn't for COVID, its run was fabulous. And it was always really cool to be a part of that. And I've found you to be a guy, and it kind of a little bit of a carryover from your Newcastle Pumpkin Ridge days, where you're a guy where your answer isn't no. It's rarely no. It's kind of like, well, maybe we can do that, even if the answer might eventually be no. It's, let's see if we can do that. And certainly in the area of education, in giving me, I appreciate it, or Patrick, a platform to serve the members of the Oregon chapter like that. He and I can never be grateful enough for the fact that you, along with the section, give us opportunity to serve our members.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's if my last sort of question for you is, because I learned some things I didn't know about New Jersey like that. Had no idea.
Yeah.
Maybe I had no idea. But if, what, in maybe the next 12 years, what are some of the things that you're excited about sort of revolutionizing, sort of what's the frontier look like for the Oregon chapter and Dominic?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I really haven't given that much thought. Especially right now, we're kind of mid-season, and while our own events are fairly slow right now, we still do a number of our charity events that are going on right now, but, and I'm playing next week in the Senior Oregon Open. That's my debut in that event, which I've never done. I'm looking forward to that.
Mark Gardner once told me when I turned 50, you're only the FNG once. Yeah. So enjoy it.
I'm looking forward to it. And it's like, we were at our senior pro-am yesterday and had conversations with a number of the senior pros there. And they were all just telling me, enjoy it. You're going to have a great time. It's fun to be there. And, Monte, I'll just share this with you. Like, for the longest time, I've always said, it was a quote from Katharine Graham: to love what you do and feel that it matters, how could anything be more fun? And that is truly how I feel I've lived, during this career. You hear it all the time. It's like, it's so much fun to go to work and to do those things. And I enjoy traveling. I enjoy meeting new people. I enjoy, running events. I enjoy the amateurs in our events and the relationships that I've made with the amateurs, with our sponsors, our members. I'm blessed to have a family that supports me in that. And, I'm at a time now in my life where, my daughter she's moved away. My son will be graduating college this next year. It's just great. And, the part of the traveling early on was probably the hardest, when you were missing things and that you wanted to be a part of. But, again, I love it. And, I've got a super supportive family that allowed me to do it.
The things that I think that you've revolutionized, again, that the fact that you have events that are 5-digit purses for one day with the cancer, with CCA, with that, that it's an opportunity, but it also, the thing that I think makes that work is that it has created opportunities for the people who want to play with great people who happen to be PGA professionals, who will help them have a great day, and they get to support something that they care about. It's a win-win-win all the way around. Yeah. And I know that the majority of the people who play in those CCA events who are pros don't do it because they want to win the money. That's they do it because they care about the cause, and also elevating their fellow PGA professionals and bringing the right people to that event who will then help that cause.
As we know, it's certainly an opportunity where there's no expectation on our professionals to give the money back. That's not part of the plan when we sign up. It's not part of the plan when we negotiate with our charity event. And when somebody wins money at one of those events and they make the decision to donate back a certain dollar amount, that right there elevates our professionals in a way that is off the charts. And then that helps bridge the gap, not only, I mean, just for years to come. And to your point, people should be signing up for those events, one, because they want to support the cause, and two, it's going to be a great day. And oh, by the way, if you play well, you're going to win some money, but you're going to meet some really good people too. And, there might be some great golfers, some not so great golfers, but the character of the people you're going to play golf with is going to be excellent.
Yeah. And again, it's really cool to see that. I also, again, admire the fact that the coaching day that you've built, where you created it, the turnout for that is probably one of the best of the year, in terms of, because of the geographic challenges we have in our section. Sometimes the section meeting and the chapter meetings, obviously your chapter meeting is always really busy, but not everybody even there can make it. And
right.
But yet to get 75 people in a room at Corvallis Club to talk about coaching.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So, any other people you want to sort of highlight, thank, before we sign off?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll go back to, the board that initially hired me. And I know it was, at that time, it was Gordon Tolbert, I want to say Brian Tunstall, David Porter, Mark Keating, John Cawasso, Sean Fredrickson. I mean, that group there, I give thanks to, just because they were the ones that gave me the nod. Jeff Ellison, again, for giving me that opportunity to do what I do. And then, honestly, as of recent, Frank Tallarico, again, for supporting me and everything that I do. And all of the boards that I've worked for, it's been awesome to kind of go through the process of that. And again, meeting yourself and Patrick and just, individuals Brandon Thompson, who are members in our chapter, our section, who are national employees, but then again, are still really good friends and always appreciate that. So yeah, that's
one
it.
of the things I would say too, that I'm, I it's hitting me too, that somehow I'm old now. Obviously I looked old for a long time, but I'm old in terms of life. But it's interesting part about how, Caitlin Doyle is an Oregon chapter. Now she's been recently named to the executive director of the Northern California PGA section, and Patrick Oropalo, Oregon chapter member, that you worked with, and I've worked with, and to see them, Brandon Thompson, and they've gone on to be in that, serving the membership. It's pretty cool for me, and I hope that you feel the same way. I'm pretty sure you do, where you're like, yeah, I'm proud that I had some input on their life, as well as the Ryan Clemens of the world, certainly, and those things. But to see them go on to do things that we're doing, where they're like, yeah, I want to do that, is pretty awesome.
Totally.
Well, thanks for your time. Thanks for trying out this new platform. Hopefully it's one that works well. And again, I'm never not grateful for our friendship, Dominic.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Monte. Thanks.
Yeah.